So the stress response. We just covered this, but there's a few things that I just want to highlight again. That there's a stimulus, we talked about it. Then there's stress response released. These, adrenaline, noradrenaline, glucocorticoids, a whole series of hormones are released for this fight or flight. This is the response. I teach an entire workshop just on this. I'm not going to explain this, but this would give a preface of, well, Don saw this threat, so his blood pressure to run, does it need to go up or down? If he's going to hightail it, it needs to go up, right, to get more blood around. And the story goes on. Blood sugar goes up. But then there's also, over time, what happens when those systems are always up, and they start to downregulate. So basically the system is designed to work perfectly so you can get away from that perceived threat, make it back to your doghouse cave, and then go back into homeostasis, which is rest and digest and heal and repair and start over again. So the system is designed to work perfectly if you can get away from that threat. But if you never can get away from that threat because it's a bad boss, bad job, bad circumstance, bad relationship, then what? So I want to maybe help you unpack that. So this is the adrenal response. So this is cortisol on the left side of the graph, and here's the progression through the stages of adrenal fatigue. Now, normal's over here, right here in the center, we have stage 1. What that is see how this line is solid? Because it's just pushing out cortisol. It is an acute threat. Now, Don, after the amount of time where it gets all the way up to here, because you haven't gotten away from that acute stress, see how it gets dotted? Because it starts fatiguing out, only putting out cortisol at certain times. That's what causes blood sugar drops and energy drops. And then it gets to the point where it starts to fatigue and then it drops down. So stage 1 takes time. Once there's fatigue happening, it can take anywhere between 6 to 9 months for that system to recuperate once you take your body out of that stressful situation. And your job tonight is to figure out, what can I do? What can I maybe not do? What kind of things can I make that list of do and not do to help my body recuperate and repair. But know that in a perfect scenario and perfect healing, 6 to 9 months. Once you're in stage 2, 12 to 18 months. 24 months once you start getting into stage 3 adrenal fatigue, and the failure is where there's literally no cortisol produced. And again, the difference between Addison's, for example, Cushing's is another one. There's some other conditions out there with ups and downs, or just all the way off cortisol. But once that happens, there's no cortisol, so it's easy to test. But up here, if you test it in between each one of these dashes, it could say there's none, or it could say there's high. So the results of some of the blood work without doing it regularly and looking at multiple factors can be rather confusing.